For the last 35 years, Mario has had to rescue Princess Peach from the clutches of the series' main antagonist, Bowser. This large, powerful, fire-breathing King Koopa quickly realized he can't beat Mario by himself, and throughout the 18 games you'll see in this video has employed hundreds of enemies to fight the Mustache Man. Some of these are relatively harmless, scattered among various levels in various worlds, and others are big baddies guarding towers or final world castles who are much more dangerous. My name is Copycat, and in this video, I'm going to look at the best boss fights in every Mario game. Before I get this video started, if you haven't yet, then please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to stay notified when I upload new videos. The very first game in the series, Super Mario Bros., had very simple boss battles all involving Bowser himself, and I guess a few fake Bowsers along the way. Most of you probably already know that the objective of these boss battles in this game is to grab the axe on the other side of Bowser, toppling the bridge he's standing on. These types of boss battles are relatively easy when compared to today's standards, but when this game was released, they were actually seen as revolutionary. One of the only games not to feature Bowser as the main big baddie is Super Mario Bros. 2. Instead, the main antagonist here is Wart, who is taking control of the peaceful dream world Subcon, and it's up to Mario and friends to come and save the day. Even though the boss battle in this game is fun and challenging, I would have to say the very best comes in the room right before it, in the fight against the Masked Gate. I remember how surprised I was when I first learned that the door you usually take to complete each level had turned against you and became a boss that would fly towards you and attack you. This game is so wacky and fun, I'm really surprised that Nintendo hasn't brought back many elements from this game into future titles. Super Mario Bros. 3 is the first game in the series to feature the Koopalings, who would become a franchise staple for many titles to come. Even though fighting them definitely added a much more satisfying boss battle experience, I would still have to say that the final Bowser fight is by far the best. This is mainly due to it being different than any other boss fight in this game, as you have to force Bowser to ground pound through the floor, breaking it and having him fall to his doom. Playing through this exact scenario again brought back some incredible memories of when I was young. Super Mario Land holds two of the strangest Mario levels of all time that both contain the best boss battles in this game. That's only because Mario was in a vehicle during both of these fights, which is incredibly out of place for him and is something that really wouldn't be revisited until Super Mario Odyssey. This game is relatively short, but full of really strange, standout moments. There aren't really any standout boss battles in Super Mario World until you reach the roof of Bowser's castle. Here you will face Bowser in his Koopa clown car, even though it flies, but anyways, trying to damage him with the Mecha Koopas he hurls towards you. Bowser is extremely menacing in this game, which definitely compounds with the fact that this is the first time you even see him. Although this fight turns out to be relatively simple, it definitely inspired many other boss battles to come. Super Mario Land 2 is by far one of the weirdest games in the series, and with it comes the weirdest bosses. What's even weirder is that Wario is the final boss of the game and takes over Mario Land because of a lifetime of jealousy? I wonder if Nintendo would rewrite history if they could and change this around a bit, but either way. This cool boss battle takes place in 3 stages. The first, with Wario charging across the room and stomping the ground, which would cause the lights above you to fall. The second, where he powers up with a carrot to become Bunny Wario, and the third where he uses a fire flower, jumping across the screen, hurling fireballs towards you. However, the best part is when you finally defeat him. He shrinks down to a smaller size, kicking his shoe at Mario, crying and running off screen. Also, Wario was bald? What? Super Mario 64 was probably the hardest game to pick the best boss battle from, as it introduced so many memorable moments, but if I had to pick the best, I'd have to go with the Womp King fight based on one thing and one thing alone. Look at this dude! In all seriousness, the final Bowser boss battle is probably better on paper, but there's just something about the Thwomp's mug I can't say no to. Of course, in terms of difficulty, it's not really hard at all, I just had to pick this one for the memes. There are so many great boss battles in Super Mario Sunshine that I really couldn't just pick one, so I'll go through my top 3. Coming in at the 3rd spot, I'd have to go with the Gooper Booper, which appears in both Rico Harbor and Noki Bay. This fight is extremely morbid, as you have to pull its tentacles off one by one until there's an opening to grab it by the mouth and launch it away. I kinda feel bad for the poor guy. Coming in at number 2 is the King Boo boss battle that takes place in the basement of Hotel Delfino. Water is ineffective against this interesting boss, so you have to play a game of slots and hope it lands on the fruit so you can grab the pepper and throw it towards the Boo, giving you an opening to damage him. However, this occurrence is completely random, and you have a chance of having to face more enemies instead. Finally, my favorite boss battle in this game has to be against the Ely Mouth, where you have to do something different in cleaning his teeth to calm it down. On top of all that, you have to watch your health meter as the fight takes place underwater, making things that much more difficult. New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS has a few very different bosses that are all inspired by past enemies in the franchise. I have 2 absolute favorites here, in the Mega Goomba, mainly because it's so giant and goofy looking, and the Monty Tank. This boss is very creative, as it's a moving tank controlled by the mole that shoots bullet bills towards you. However, he can be easily defeated by just jumping on his head when it's exposed, but I just love the concept of the moving boss battle. Super Mario Galaxy brought an entirely new dimension into play, which led to some incredibly ingenious boss battles. My favorites include the Bouldergeist battle that takes place in the Ghostly Galaxy and includes the incredibly cool mechanic of using the strange bomb boos to damage it. Another one I love is the Baron Burr fight in the Freeze Flame Galaxy, where you need to use the Ice Flower dodging his ice balls to reach him. Once you get up to his platform, all you have to do is wait till he tries to body slam you against the ground to damage him. This battle is honestly pretty simple. I think I'm just a bit of a sucker for the ice skating in this game, being from Canada. Finally, my favorite boss battle in this game has to be fighting the Kingfin, which takes place underwater in the Bonefin Galaxy. This battle is actually a bit more difficult as you have to deal with a depleting air meter and a few skeletal fish guards which can only be defeated with a shell or leading them to the surface. Once the guards are clear, it's a lot easier to hit the Kingfin, ending this amazing fight. New Super Mario Bros. Wii also features the Koopalings as the main bosses of each world, but this time their battles are much more complex with some very interesting twists. A few of my faves include Lemmy's fight, which adds a platform of ice which definitely ups the difficulty of dodging him on his ball. This is especially true during the second fight where Kamek makes Lemmy's ball gigantic, and this is a very nice touch seeing Nintendo try new things. The second part of the Iggy boss battle gives him an enlarged chain chomp that tries to chase you down. Here you have to try to platform from behind to damage him. Another cool boss battle in this game takes place against Wendy, which adds underwater aspects during the second part of the battle when the stage floods from time to time. Also, I really enjoyed the final boss battle when it looks like Bowser is defeated, then all of a sudden he comes back to life in giant form and you have to platform skillfully for the rest of the level, avoiding his attacks. I think in the end this game is just very revolutionary and definitely revitalized 2D Mario games. Super Mario Galaxy 2 greatly expands on the aspects of the first game, and the boss fights are no exception. My favorites in this game include the Glamdozer, which is basically an oversized pup dozer dinosaur bug-like enemy who can only be defeated when ground pounding through the gate from below. I really love how this series of games adds a whole nother platforming dimension which really opens up the possibilities. Another one I really love is the Squizzard battle, mainly because of how goofy he looks, as his battle is incredibly easy and almost useless, but just look at his face. Finally, my favorite boss fight in this game takes place against Prince Bacante in the Shiverburn Galaxy. Here you have to skate around the stage, dodging the boss's tank while also avoiding the projectiles he fires. The only way to defeat this boss is to spin return the watermelon he will randomly shoot towards you. Once again, I'm just a sucker for the skating mechanic. It's weird, I'm weird, I know. Super Mario 3D Land doesn't have many standout boss battles as they are relatively simple, but fighting against Bowser in this game is tons of fun, especially Dry Bones Bowser in the Special 8 Castle. These battles are very reminiscent of the very first Mario game where you just have to dodge Bowser's attacks, making it to a switch, destroying the bridge, and sending him to his doom. I love how this game blends together all different elements of past 2D Mario games into the 3D realm. New Super Mario Bros. U expands on the Koopaling boss battles from the Wii version, adding some very interesting mechanics to these already amazing fights. My favorites from this game include Morton, who uses a hammer knocking sections of a giant Pokey towards you. Once the Pokey's gone, that leaves him open for an attack. Another really cool boss fight takes place underwater against Bowser Jr. in Soda Jungle's The Mighty Cannon Ship. Here, he launches targeting Teds in your direction, and you have to guide them, hitting the clown car, dealing damage. Finally, the best boss battle in this game takes place against Mega Bowser, and this time it's more of a proper fight. To beat him, you need to steal Bowser Jr.'s clown car and ground pound the King Koopa's head. I much rather prefer beating Bowser the proper way than just triggering a switch. Super Mario 3D World has boss fight elements that are more similar to the Galaxy series than any other set of games in the franchise. My favorite three include the King Kathunk, who is basically a metal square that tries to stomp on Mario by crushing its entire structure on the ground. He can only be defeated by jumping on his backside 3 times, which can get harder as he starts to move erratically towards the end of the fight. Prince Bully is another one of my favorite bosses, mainly because he turns into a trash can when he gets sucked into the pipes, which is the only way you can actually deal damage to him. This is really just hilarious. Finally, the Bowser boss battles are definitely the best in this game, and this takes place in 2 parts. The first takes place in World 1, where Bowser's riding on the back of a car and throwing kick bombs towards Mario that have to be sent back to deal damage. This battle is really easy, but at least it's fresh and different. The second Bowser fight takes place at the end of World Bowser, where he transforms into a giant cat using the Bell power-up. Here you have to dodge his attacks while traversing up the tower, where he can only be defeated at the very top by triggering the giant POW block. Bowser fights aren't generally the hardest things ever, but at least Nintendo knows how to make them enjoyable. I think a lot of people would agree with me that by far the best boss fight in Super Mario Odyssey has to be the one against the dragon in the Rune Kingdom. This was a complete surprise and an amazing experience when I first played through this game, even if the Rune Kingdom itself was a bit of a letdown. Knowing that Mario can now defeat a giant dragon lets me sleep a bit easier at night. Alright, so that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. If you did, please leave a like. Comment below any future video ideas you have for me, and of course subscribe to my channel. Also, please check out my Instagram at Copycat Gamer, where I upload some cool clips and items from my collection that you won't see anywhere else. I hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!